Well, hello, sweet thing. Come on in. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm your girl, a licensed cosmetologist, trichologist, research scientist, herbalist, and owner of Simple Apothecary LLC. Today, we are going to break down again how most of your practices have led you to these places. Most will look at her hair and scream, "Oh my God, heat damage, heat damage, heat damage." And guess what? You're right, but it's not the type of heat damage that you think, baby. But we'll hop into that in a second. Every time I make videos like this, the anti-heat people are always popping out. If you do not want to use a flat iron, you don't have to use one. Just do what our grandmas and our mothers were doing, which is using perm rods or flexi rods. Your wash and goes could never. The wash and goes are lazy ways to do what our grandmothers were doing forever. And with them doing a flexi rod set or a perm rod set like this, the levels of breakage that you guys are having will be completely and totally non-existent. So when you practice the right patterns and the right routines, you can do so many different things to your hair. But when you are going to people who are not educated, even if they have a license, just because you have a license doesn't mean that you're a good hairstylist or a cosmetologist. Like just because you finished school and you a teacher doesn't mean you're a good teacher. You being certified in an area doesn't automatically make you the gold standard. Absolutely not. What makes you a gold standard is the way that you further your education and the way that you perfect your craft. And it's a holistic practice where you first have to learn about the human scalp. In my opinion, nobody should learn more about the human scalp than a braider, because you are directly putting your fingers really, really close to somebody's scalp. You're putting extra weight on the hair shaft, so you need to know whose hairs, what the complexity of the hair's follicle is. So you should know what to do and what not to do. But because the only education that a braider has in the state that regulates braiders is just really, really quick sanitation, just sanitation as it pertains to their tools, not your scalp. There's no education whatsoever on the human scalp. And in the videos that I've posted recently, I'll leave them in the description box below, I gave you the proof. Women braiders specifically who now call themselves, or people who go by Team Natural Stylist, they surpass cosmetology school. If you went to cosmetology school, I'm not talking about you, so hush your face. But there are so many that completely surpass cosmetology school or school of any kind and are just right in there braiding hair. And this is why you have so many people dealing with these issues. Now, her issues did not come from heat damage. She was going to a braider that dipped her hair in boiling hot water, like boiling hot water. Y'all, that's something that you do to the very ends of extension hair. You are never ever supposed to get it to a place where it touches the hair, because get into this, the reason that you're dipping it in boiling hot water in general is because the synthetic hair, it'll seize up not in a bad way, but in a good way. It seizes up and then it'll stay in place for you, right, once you do that. So imagine what it does to your hair with your hair being surrounded. This woman has the type of breakage that you get from constantly putting your hair in ponytails. Most women think that all you have to do is blow dry your hair, put it in a cute bun or a cute ponytail, and that's just going to be okay. Ponytails are one of the easiest ways to break your hair off. You want to break your hair off fast? Put it in a ponytail every day. That's where that V shape comes from, or that U shape, and it just keeps going up higher and higher and higher. That's why most cosmetologists end up having to give all of their clients the same exact haircut, because most of the time there'll be a mixture of things. And the client that's sitting in my chair right now, she has a mixture of things. So she wears her hair in ponytails all the time, plus she went to a braider who was dipping all of her hair in boiling hot water. So by the time she comes back to me, instead of the hair, look at her longest length whenever I get done straightening her hair, instead of that longest length being either even thicker and fuller and more dense, right? I have to cut it all off because she wasn't able to retain length. As you can clearly see, she can grow hair, but she can't retain length. And I love y'all, but for all of us, it's like this because we style our hair so much. Like the girl that you're watching on screen, oh my God, yes, it's so cute, but all of this wrapping and tucking and ponytailing and twisting is going to break your hair. This is why Black women cannot retain length. And don't have offense, like, be a scientist real quick in your own mind, not for real. I've been to school, I'm still in school, but for real, like, just pretend, right? And think about it. Play the process of elimination. There's one group of women that always have tight styles, really, really tight styles, high tension styles, constantly packing products in their scalp. Their hair grows, but they can never hold on to the length, or you never see it, right? So you then have another group of women who barely put any products in their hair, shampooing on a regular basis, blow drying their hair on a regular basis, or at least setting the bond and having the hair stretched on a regular basis, and they're able to retain length with no problem. These are the things that I want y'all to think about. Like, sometimes it's exhausting because you'll go online and it'll be more people like, oh, what do you think about this product on the scalp? And what you're looking at right now is an example of somebody doing lock extensions, but look at the death that is happening on the scalp. You guys are not supposed to put all of these oils, butters, and greases on the scalp. I am going to do another video. Our very next video will be a shout out to my 7-day challenge members. I'm going to share no one's face or anything like that. It may just be all audio, but I'm going to share a couple of their reviews and a couple of things that we talked about. Obviously none of our personal business, but a couple of things that I think may be beneficial right here on YouTube, just so y'all can see I'm not just randomly talking, right? The things that you do have like consequences. Everybody's hair grows, but there's a certain group of women that make it really, really difficult for themselves because they believe that it is product that is packed into the scalp that is what gives you, you know, the longevity, or what makes your hair so beautiful and what gives you the style. And that's not true. The reason that I'm putting different hairstylists and cosmetologists up on the screen is because I want y'all to start looking at professionals, good professionals. There are dusty professionals. There are professional cosmetologists out here who do hair just like YouTubers. There are professional cosmetologists out here who are putting eggs and pineapple juice in your hair. There are cosmetologists that are putting rice nipple juice, hell, selling it, putting it in bottles and selling it. I get it. I'm not talking about them, okay? I'm talking about the cosmetologists like me, or like the ones that I'm popping up on the screen because they're out there. Those are the ones that I'm talking about. That's just the old song that was playing. This is the old video. All of these videos are years and years old, over 5 or 6 years old. So right now I am getting her hair in place so that we can go ahead and see exactly where the damage is. I let her know that she actually didn't have to cut it this short, but she really was like, let's just, whatever, I don't care, let's just do a bob. Because remember, where her bald spot is at the top, there's a whole lot of breakage. So where it's bald around those areas, like as you get to the top, you're gonna see that her hair is getting shorter and shorter. Most people think that protective styles are something that's needed. A lot of people are not gonna like what I have to say next, but protective styles is another term that was used and spread all across YouTube as a way to sell a different set of products. But you don't need protective styles. I want to ask you a question, and again, this is not comparing women from other races. It's not that. If you're easily offended, or if you have some unhealed racial trauma, this is not the channel for you, because I cannot teach and help you make it through your I Have a Dream speech and the Black Power movement at the same time. So if we really sit here and think about it, there's one group of women that have a really hard time retaining length, and there's another group of women who never have a problem. The group of women who always have a problem retaining length have high tension styles, very high tension styles, and for whatever reason are completely against just letting their hair be in a stretched state, letting it sit on their hair and mind its business. Because the reality of the situation is all your hair is really supposed to do is sit on your head. So protective styles, a protective style is something that protects the hair. Most people, anytime somebody says anything about a sew-in, which is my favorite protective style, to me there's no better protective style than a sew-in. People make it sound like anybody that gets a sew-in is somebody that's bald head, but as you can clearly see, this woman that you're looking at right now has all of her hair, all of it, every drop. Okay, her hair is just as long as the hair extensions that she's putting in her hair, but she doesn't want to deal with it. So all of the team natural practices that you guys do that have you in your hair 24/7, I can promise you, women with healthy long hair, the last thing they want to do is play in their hair. The last thing they want to do is be in their hair all day. The more you're in your hair, the longer it's taking you to do your hair from day to day, the more damage you're going to have. The more products you're packing in your scalp, the faster your hair is going to fall out. It is a promise. I can promise you. And in our next video, I'm going to play a couple of reviews for you, like audio reviews of women saying, hey, like, I was team naturalling it up too, was going bald, and I joined the 7-day challenge, changed my routines, and in less than a month, all of my bald spots have filled in. I'm telling you what I know. I don't just say things out of my mouth. And what I want you to start paying attention to, right? I want you to start paying attention to the people who like product push towards you in the process, and look at their hair and look how thin it's getting, and pay attention to the fact that they're all going into hair salons to fix it, whether they're going to team natural salons or not. That's what's happening. So these are the things that I want you to think about. In the clip that I let you see earlier, the woman that had to do the reparative haircut on her client cut a bob literally in the same exact way. Like, everybody learns the same haircuts, y'all. Like, so when people say, oh, I didn't need to go to cosmetology school, you did. Because what I want you to do, look at the way that I'm cutting her hair, and then go back and look at that clip that I added of that lady who was cutting the bob. I should have added it right now, but I'm not. Look at the way that we're cutting. We're cutting hair exactly the same way. And Harpo, I don't know that woman. I do not know that woman, and I'm sure she don't know me. I'm pretty sure this woman has not sat here on my channel looking at the way that I cut hair. And this video that you're watching right now is 6 years old, and her video is probably like a couple of months old. We all learn the same haircuts. I can promise you that if you go to cosmetology school right now, when you get there, you're gonna learn a 40-degree haircut, a 90-degree haircut, and a 180-degree haircut. Like, you, and a 45. Girl, we're going to learn the same things, because the science never changes. These are things that I really want y'all to think about. I have a hat on in this video, but it's so funny whenever I see people like, oh, she hates natural hair. She hates people that wear their hair curly. No, I don't. I hate people I don't hate anyone. I'm irritated by people who ignore the science and make up stuff. How could I hate like people who wear their natural hair when that's how my hair is in this picture? Like, So I need y'all to remember, anybody who's saying things like that, they're kind of making up a narrative to make you put the attention on me judging my character or me as a person instead of you looking at the science. Because if you're rage baited into being upset with me, you're not thinking critically. You're too focused on the way that I sound, or whether or not I got too much attitude, or if it's a weave in my hair or not. That's the thing. So change your point of focus, because at the end of the day, the science is the science. Again, look back at the video of the woman who did the same exact haircut that I'm doing. Our clients had the similar damage, not necessarily the same, but very, very similar forms of damage. And we did it exactly the same way. So I want to ask you this, right? Riddle me this. If the cosmetologist, if our way is wrong, right, why is it that the video that you're watching right now of me is over 6 years old, but the video that you just watched me clip is recent, and we're doing hair the same exact way? The science isn't changing, but every time y'all come on YouTube, there's a new hack, there's a new technique, a new way to deep condition, a new way to dry your hair, a new tool. And then cosmetologists, we've been doing this hair the same way for decades. So make it make sense. These are the things that I want y'all to think about, because the stuff that y'all are doing to y'all hair is too much. Okay, you don't like cosmetologists in your area, you can't find a good one. Okay, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry. Well, that doesn't mean that you are not responsible for your hair anymore. That now just means that you need to get a mannequin and start practicing on the mannequin. And when you perfect it on the mannequin, get it together on your own head. And in the meantime, maybe you can get box braids, but go to a braider who understands that oils and butters do not go on the scalp. Go to a braider who is masterful with that rat tail comb and can get some nasty parts without using any products, baby, they out here. I'm telling you. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a video like that, because I found this one YouTuber, and she's a braider, and like that's her thing. She like watch me do these bomb parts with no edge control, with no product. So let me know if you want to see her, and then I'll post her stuff up for sure. But this is how her hair ended up coming out once her patterns change it and she completely stops using oils and butters and grease on her scalp. Her hair will fill back in, because first of all, she's way too young to be having this type of damage, right? To be having this type of balding. As we get older, our hormones start to fluctuate and start going haywire, and that's what may lead to thinning and balding. And then you just have to make certain adjustments to your diet and things of that nature for the hair to start filling back in. But when this type of balding happens young, because at this point she was in her very early 20s. In this video, I don't think she was over like 22, 23. But she was very, very young. And there's no reason a 22-year-old woman should be going bald in the middle of her head. Some of the patterns are wrong. And these are the things that I want y'all to understand. And I also need y'all to understand, when you hear intensity in my voice and when you make a comment and you want to go back and forth, I'm either deleting your comment or I'm going to just heart it and say thanks for watching. It's because the things that you swear by, I've been healing for over a decade. This video is, like I keep saying, over 6 years old, and y'all are still dealing with it now. Actually, the cases of CCCA and seborrheic dermatitis and folliculitis that Black women have are 10 times worse than they were when I was in the hair industry. So I know exactly what I'm talking about, and these are things that I really want you to think about. Like my girl T said, just sit with it. You don't gotta argue about it. You don't have to leave a "I have a dream" comment in the description box. Just sit in it and just think about that for a minute. Like, why are you doing it? Because you haven't been getting a good result. Because you got to think about it. You use one product to fix what another product that you use caused, and then you put another product on there where anytime you watch a professional cosmetologist like me, we're all using the same amount of products, very, very minimum. You never see wet, white dripping from our client's hair unless we're using a foam wrap. These are things that I really, really want you to think about. But her hair came out absolutely beautiful. Hey, boo, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing okay, and I hope that your spot filled in. But again, a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this. I used to hate the summertime because, well, not the summer. I didn't hate the summer. I hated back to school time, because during back to school time, which is around right now, everybody's finally coming in after they're done wearing all of their braids and everything, and now all of their hair is messed up, and they think that their hair is like all super thick because it's been in braids this whole time. But no, it's not. It's broke off, and it's so sad, because most of the time, like y'all saw how long her hair was, but you saw how damaged it was. But imagine if she didn't have braids, or if she went to a braider that knew what they were doing, that wasn't dipping her hair, then all of that length would have been hers. It would have been thick, and she would have been on the process or on the road to be in the same shoes that this beautiful woman is in right here. This is another one of my regular clients. As you can see, her hair is beautiful, thick, full. Them curls bounce right back. She has absolutely no heat damage, and she does not wear wash and goes. She does not. She wears her hair straight, ma'am. Yes, she does. Thank you very much. So we are detangling her hair. Her hair has already been detoxed and deep conditioned. Anytime you're sitting in my chair, I'm detoxing your scalp and your hair shaft, because girl, I don't know what you was doing before you got here, and I need a clean canvas. And so now I am starting the round brushing process with her hair. In a second, I am going to show you another example of round brushing on another texture, right? But I do want y'all to understand that when it comes to round brushing the hair, it is something that you need to practice. But once you practice, it is so simplistic and it's so easy to use. And the reason that I am using her video is, firstly, I want you to pay attention to the fact that her hair is not bone straight when she first starts. Her natural hair does have a curl to it. Is it as curly as ours or as some people's? No, it's not. But everybody has curly hair from a different perspective as it pertains to hair coming in different textures, straight, wavy, and curly. There are different variations of straight hair, there are different variations of wavy hair, and there are different variations of curly hair, right? She has one of the least curlier textures of curly hair, but she still has curly hair, right? And when you have really, really tight curly hair, baby, you just have more softer linkages within the cortex, and the size of your cuticle is just a little tighter than hers. But everything's the same. Hair is still a fiber made of 3 bonds. You still have a hydrogen bond, a salt bond, and a disulfide bond, just like her. None of that changes. None of that changes. The only thing that's different is the size of the follicle and the amount of sulfur to sulfur linkages that live inside of the cortex. And if you get a relaxer, what you're doing is removing some of those sulfur to sulfur linkages, right? If you get a relaxer, again, you're moving those sulfur to sulfur linkages. A texture release, you are slightly, like temporarily changing some of those bonds around. But what they don't tell you about texture release is that most of the time it becomes permanent, because women, after women get it, they don't follow certain processes, and especially if you don't have a certain pattern or regimen, a texture release ends up being exactly like a relaxer. If you want to know the difference scientifically, you want me to break down the chemical complex of both, then let me know in the description, let me know in the comments, and I'll have a video specifically on that topic, because it is something that we will have to go into and dissect down and break down chemically. But again, let me know if you want to do it. I'm not anti any product. I'm not anti keratin treatments. I'm not anti relaxers. I'm not anti texture release. I'm anti y'all just randomly going and getting it because y'all see it on YouTube. Absolutely not. All of these different products are for specific groups of people. For example, keratin treatments are for women who have high porosity hair. Women with low porosity hair should never get it. And women who, for example, when I was behind the chair, I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I would have women that were from all over the world that would come see me. And I used to have a couple of women who flew in and out for other things, right? And they would come to me for keratin treatments, and they were swimmers. Chlorine does to the hair shaft the same exact thing that lightener does. It opens the cuticle of the hair shaft. That's why if you have blonde hair and you go swimming, your hair is going to end up green, because the chlorine is going to open the cuticle, and that pigment is going to go in there. It turns the hair green, right? So I would recommend keratin treatments to my clients that were swimmers only if they had high porosity hair. If they had low porosity hair, absolutely not. But the chlorine literally eats away at the keratin, and then they're washing their hair every single day when they get out of the pool. So by the time 3-4 weeks go by, the keratin is basically non-existent in the hair. That's where it came from. Those are the things that I want y'all to think about. Just like with your 2-strand twist, y'all love 2-strand twist. 2-strand twist is how you start locks, and I don't care what anybody says. You guys are doing styles that are meant for other things, and you're hacking everything, and in the process of you hacking things, you're hacking your hair off, because you can clearly see this person here is starting locks. That's what she just said. They just said they're starting locks. In that case, for whatever reason, they braid it down first. But almost every loctician I know starts locks with either 2-strand twist, or they use the combing coiling method, where they create a coil with the comb, with like a rat tail comb. Other than that, you're starting locks. So these are the things that I want you to think about. But it's really sad, because there are so many black women who are like anti all of the things that you're actually supposed to be doing, and pro all of the things that make you bald long term. Because regardless of what anybody says, just like I showed at the very, very beginning, y'all, like it's just my personal opinion as a professional cosmetologist, baby, that flexi rod set at the very, very beginning of this video on the beauty with the like shorter hair, oh my God, it was so beautiful. And I'm sorry, like, I just don't think that looks better than you just throwing 5 or 6 layers of products in your hair and walking out the house. And I'm telling you, if you decide that the thing that you're going to do is still layered all of those products on your hair, eventually you are going to have scalp inflammation. You will. If you don't want to use a flat iron, don't use one. That's fine. But just know that doing a flexi rod set or doing a perm rod set, it is more of a commitment, right? Because the way that you tie your hair up is going to be a little bit more. It takes longer to wrap each individual, well, not each individual strand, but it takes a while to wrap your hair up in the flexi rods, and then you have to sit under the dryer for a while, then you have to undo it. So it's a longer process. But if that's a process that you're willing to go through because you don't want to use a blow dryer, then baby, do it. But just understand that all of y'all team natural wash and go stuff, is only going to end up with very, very thin hair. There's a woman on Instagram, I think she is gorgeous, beautiful, Indigenous Strands, I think is her name. Will not be making a video on her, don't have time for it, but yes, her hair is so long. It is. But y'all, do y'all know how many black women I've had sit in my chair with hair as long, if not longer than hers? Like, I had a black chick with hair to her knees, but when it was straightened out, it was so unhealthy, so uneven. Like, the healthy hair stopped at her shoulders, but her hair was to her knees. I'm telling you. But do what you want to do. I'm just saying, if you change the patterns early and start being intentional early, you don't have these problems. This is another older client of mine. She was one of my crazy ones though, and she was one of the washing goers, right? And she was just like, oh my god, my curls is so juicy and cute, girl, I'm ready to do my length check so I can slang it. And this is where we ended up. But I just want y'all to know, like, it's all about the techniques and the pattern. The different places that you go that are, oh, what about a brush for a black girl? What about white girl brushes? Or what about 4C hair? Or what about if you have 4A? What brush would you use for that? I want y'all to rewind the video and go and look at that woman who was round brushing her hair, and I need you to pay attention to the fact that the same round brush, the same size and everything round brush that she has in her hand is the same round brush that I'm holding in my hand. And again, Harpo, I don't know that woman. I'm pretty sure that video was probably posted this year. The video that you're watching right now is almost 8 years old. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. The video you're watching right now is almost 8 years old. Same brush. If you go back and look at the way she's rolling the brush, same roll. Everything is exactly the same. But the thing is, when you don't know how to use something, you just automatically say, we ain't supposed to use that. No, you're not supposed to use it because you don't know what you're doing. Get a mannequin. Practice on a mannequin. Once you perfect it on the mannequin, try it on yourself. Most women on the planet, regardless of their race or ethnic background, are shampooing and blow drying their hair the way y'all just saw that woman blow dry her hair every day, or at least every 2 days. So y'all, we cannot keep like, oh, I don't have time, or I don't have time to do my hair, or it just takes so long. And no, we can't make up excuses, because the woman that you're watching, she's doing that every single day or every other day, and you can get away with doing it once every week or once every 2 weeks. I'm sorry, it's not an excuse. And to complain about doing what she's doing right now, to complain about doing your hair once every 2 weeks when she's doing this every single day is crazy. And again, look at the way I'm rolling the brush. Look at the way she's rolling the brush. Look at the way she's adding the tension on the root. And look, it's the same thing. I'm adding the tension on the root for 2 reasons: to dry the hair and to straighten at the same time. It's not complicated. Hair is not complicated, but on YouTube, you guys have made everything complicated to the point that in the challenge, when the gurus first get in, like, I meet with gurus, we meet once a month, and that's not even a part of the payment, right? You have lifetime access to the group, right? You have a one-time payment of whatever my fee is, link in the description. And then after that, you do your coursework. You have access to a group where they're building relationships with each other. And I meet with everyone once a month. And I don't do one-on-one consultations anymore. There is nowhere on social media where anyone can book me, tell me issues that they're having with their hair and their scalp, and I'm going to answer them and give them direction. But within the 7-day challenge or the growth cycle blueprint, 1000%, That's what we do. We do our lives together from the Growth Cycle Blueprint and the 7-day challenge. We do the lives together. And if the Growth Cycle Blueprint members have anything deeper that they want me to go into, I make them personal videos over on their personal group, right? That is outside of the 7-day challenge group, because they are 2 separate courses. But these are things that I really want y'all to think about, because it's not that complicated. But because all of these hacks are always made up, oh, this gotta go on your hair, and your hair gotta look like this, and you gotta make sure your hair feels like this, and then next you gotta make sure your hair feel like that, and you gotta add this product. You guys are confused. You don't have to do all of that stuff. It's very mild. It's very simplistic. You don't need a bunch of products. I need y'all to understand that we live in the product world, right? So channels that are always selling you something, they're going to have hundreds and thousands of views, and it's okay, because that's where we're at right now. But as we move up and as we're coming out of that, you are going to start to see things shift and change, because at the end of the day, you begin to run out of products to push, right? At this point, I can barely get the comb through her hair. And for most women that came and sat in my chair that were like, I'm team natural, I haven't straightened my hair or put heat in my hair in 6 months, this is how their hair was most of the time. So these are things that I want you to think about. You being naturally curly is, I'm sorry, it's gonna make people feel away, but boo, you not special. I swear to God, like, there are so many people on the planet with curly hair. There are more people on the earth with curly hair than there are people with straight hair, swear to God. But you wouldn't know, because even though there are more people with curly hair on the planet than there are with straight hair, there is a small subsection of these people on the planet who believe that because they have curly hair, that they have to have these practices that are completely separate from the rest of the planet. And if this group of women really sits down and thinks about it and really looks at their patterns and looks at the place that their hair is in, it's so easy. It's so simplistic. The changes you can make are so very swift and so very easy. But if you are constantly offended, if every time you see a flat iron, it's like, oh my God, God don't want black women to use flat irons or blow dryers. You ain't gonna get into heaven if you got straight hair. Like, if that's where you are, then you're never gonna get anywhere. If you're always in a place where it's like, oh, black women only do this, black women act like this because, you know, they only wear weaves because they don't love themselves, or they only wear weaves because they trying to be like white girls and stuff. It's like, y'all, it becomes extremely exhausting to constantly listen to that. And if it's exhausting for me to listen to it, it's out of the heart that the mouth speaks. So if you're saying that, that's the content of your heart. That's what lives in you. Because I'm not even talking about that. We're not talking about race and what happened in the past and segregation. Yes, it freaking sucked. They were assholes. Absolutely. But we have to get over it and move past it. Seriously. So it's not something that we have to be that focused on, because the things that they've given you guys, the hacks that they've given you, a professional cosmetologist and trichologist would never. I want you to think about the amount of product that the YouTubers, your favorite Team Natural or whatever y'all call them YouTuber is, think about the amount of products that they use and look at the amount of products that me and this woman have used. Her video, like I said, is a lot more clear than mine, because the video you're watching of mine is about 7.5 years old, right? So this is something that I really need you to think about. Probably older than that. So I really need y'all to know that. Look at her hair. That is beautiful, healthy hair. And as a black woman, you are not stuck wearing your hair curly if you don't want to. If you want to every blue moon, sure, girl, do your fro. But is Are you gonna have super duper healthy hair? No, you're not. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. And show me the person that never ever straightens their hair, never gets a trim, never does, like, constantly puts oil in their hair. Let me see their hair straight. After doing that for 35 years, let me see it bone straight. They haven't got a trim in 30 years. They put oil in the scalp. They only co-wash their hair every 3 months. Show me, please. Oh my god, somebody tag me. And don't show it to me with them like, I don't blow dry my hair, I only fix. No, I want to see a channel of a woman that does all of the stuff that y'all do, and then she still gets her hair straightened every 4 to 6, every 10 weeks to get a trim. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I mean, not to get it trimmed. She just straighten it every 8 weeks just to see it. Let me see. I'm so serious. I'm not being a smart ass. Like, I want to see. And the thing is, you won't be able to find it because it doesn't happen. And it's so simplistic, y'all. It's not that deep. You only get heat damage when you don't know what you're doing. You only get heat damage when you use the tool the wrong way. You just saw her. She does not have any heat damage. This is her hair from roots to ends. She is a black woman that does not play in hair products. She is a black woman that does not just walk around with wet hair. This is a black woman that does not do wash and go. She's intentional about her hair, right? She makes a plan for her hair just like she makes a plan for everything else. She knows a certain time she's gonna have to wash her hair, whether she's coming in, whether she did come in to see me or whether she did it herself. Like, it was getting handled. And as you saw today, I did trim her ends when it was blown out, and that's not something that I do when we're doing like a wellness check trim. That was just like a minor one just to make sure it was nothing wrong. I barely cut anything. I don't think I cut anything. So yeah, that's something that I did want to point out. But we are just curling her hair. She doesn't really want me to comb it out that much, just kind of style it, and she likes the curls to fall where they may. There's nothing on her hair but shampoo, conditioner, rinsed out, then leave-in conditioner, and I'm spraying heat protectant on her hair. And at this point, I don't think I added serum to her hair because I know that she is one of my low porosity clients. I do remember that, and she had a pretty high sebum level, so if I add any additional oil or anything to her hair, it would have made it like a stringy mess. So we didn't do that, but this is her long and beautiful hair, and as you can see, she's a black woman. Black women can grow long hair too, but it is the patterns and the routines and your constant need to wear your hair in a style that is making it really, really hard for you to retain length. In the hair salon, I used to always tell my clients, unless you're going to like a special event, or unless you're like going out of town or something, what are you doing a protective style for, and why are you doing all of these crazy little updos, twisty knot balloons, and all of that? All of it breaks your hair off eventually, all of it. And if I'm telling you that just a basic ponytail, you wearing a basic ponytail is gonna break your hair off, then what do you think is going to happen when you're constantly doing all of these styles that require you to put all of this product on your scalp and put all these tight rubber bands and ponytails and tie the ponytail that's on the left to the ponytail that's on the right, and then make the ponytail on the left smack the ponytail that's on the right to left booty cheek? It's like, it's too much. Like, girl, all your hair is really supposed to do is sit on your head. And even the video that I showed earlier where the lady put her hair in 2 ponytails, one in the front and one in the back, and then crochet hair in the back, that's real cute. But girl, that's like a weekend hairstyle. That hair is gonna be a tangled, matted mess. That's braiding hair, and she crocheted braiding hair to mimic her hair and made a little ponytail. Y'all, that's the type of stuff that you do if you have an event and you didn't have time to do your hair and you want to look real cute, a little updo, something real cute, or you don't know what you want to do to your hair and you just want to have your hair look, you want to look presentable at work or something for 2 days.